Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer, aka Misplaced Moo. I love doing decorating videos in The Sims, and I've decided to do a series. I don't know if you guys have noticed if you've been watching my videos, but I like doing series around decorating. I did one about building a 70s house. I did one about decorating a house for a new couple, welcoming their first child. I did one about different bedrooms for every age in The Sims. So, I like to do these kind of series. So I decided to do a series where I'm taking one apartment in San Myshuno. It's 17 Cullpepper House. So that's the apartment. If you want to place this, it's 17 Cullpepper House. And I'm taking this apartment through the decades. We're starting in the 1910s, and that's the apartment I'm decorating right now, the 1910s. So that was the early part of the 20th century. It was the early part. So I'm trying to take this apartment through so I'm going to do a 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I'm going to take it all the way up into present day. I'm going to use the same apartment, and we're going to see how this apartment changes through the years. The different people that live in this apartment, the different ways this apartment is utilized, the different furnitures, trends. I did some research and I looked up some apartments in the 1910s, and here's what I found out. Basically, a lot of times in the early days, even though this is a one-bedroom apartment, you would have a whole family living here. They would just all share the bedroom. So that's what I did. This bedroom, even though it's a small one-bedroom apartment, is housing a pretty sizable family. So there's room for the mom, the dad, 2 kids, and a baby. I did have some steamer trunks placed in certain places because that was very common back then. They would use steamer trunks for luggage. A lot of immigrants were traveling to the United States where I live. So in a way, these steamer trunks kind of pay homage to that time period in life. And, all of the people who traveled far and wide to make a life here in the United States. Hopefully we'll get back to that someday. But this apartment is a modest apartment for a family living here. I tried to only use technology that would have been found in this time period. Now, you will see some saucy saucer lights above. They would not be from the 1910s, but this apartment would have shitty lighting if I didn't have those saucy saucer lights. So when you download this apartment, you can remove those saucy saucer lights and you can just have the other lights that I have. But for the filming of this video, for the building of this apartment, I decided to have those lights because it just makes everything so much better. So this apartment is kind of very interesting to make because kitchens were different. You'll see the kitchen when we get to it. Kitchens were different. Everything was a little different back then. I tried to think about this family and how they would use these rooms and, what kind of things that they would want that maybe they brought with them from where they came from, or possibly just they used on a regular basis. I wanted to have on this dresser, the pitcher for washing up. I wanted to have that little pitcher with the bowl that you can use for washing up in the mornings. So I created that. I would highly recommend that if you do download this apartment, and I do have it up on my gallery if you want it. My gallery is just Misplaced Moo. All the builds that I've done on my channel are up on my gallery, so you can go have fun and download everything. But if you do download it, I highly suggest putting bb.move objects before you place anything, because I did use bb.move objects, and sometimes if you download without putting that in first, certain items that are on shelves and stuff just may not place properly. So back in the 1910s, they didn't really have kitchen cabinets. They had, a stove, they had a sink, and they had an ice box, but they didn't actually have cabinets that tied the whole kitchen together. They just had a collection of shelves, things like that. That fireplace right there that you're seeing, that is very time accurate to what would be in these apartments. However, that is not functional as a stove. I really wanted to include it in the kitchen and I tried to hold on to it as long as I can because it is so time accurate, but I ended up getting rid of it because I needed to put like a normal stove. In order for this kitchen to be functional, I needed to have a normal stove. So I tried to use a couple of cabinets placed around that looked like they would be like furniture pieces and not exactly like cabinets, because they wouldn't have had actual cabinets. They would have had like furniture pieces. This hutch, for instance, like stuff like this. This is what they would have. A lot of dark woods, a lot of mismatched woods. I know the sink is not perfect. It is a little bit more modern looking, but it was the closest I could find to what they had. So I did decide to use it. I did put a table in the center here. This isn't really a table they would eat off of. This table is more as a work table. Obviously, the Sims can't use this as a work table. So I did put some stuff on there just to make it look like a work table. Their actual dining table is a little off to the side. You'll see it in a second. But I wanted this house to look homey and lived in and cozy. That was definitely the vibe. I wanted this to be like a happy, positive place for this family to live. And I wanted to make it look really lived in. So I tried to add as much charm and energy as I could. I do end up changing the wallpaper a little bit later on down the road. I really tried to do research and look at different apartments of this time. And what I did notice is that a lot of them did have wallpaper rather than these blank walls. So I did end up putting wallpaper. I have those little milk jugs because they would be getting milk jugs from the milkman. I love that little chicken rooster thing. I thought that was cute. The tea set. I just wanted this table to kind of be like, this is the table that they would use if they were going to like roll out dough to bake bread or chop vegetables, or maybe it would be the table that they would put their food on when they're serving dinner, or a table that they might use for, you know, a floral arrangement, or I don't know, whatever. It's like a utility work table. I love this hutch. I think it came with cottage living, and it was really fun to like put all the little doodads in there. This kitchen is functional. There is enough counter space for them to cook. There's a sink, a stove, and a refrigerator, so they will definitely be able to make meals. Everything should be totally functional and put together. I just wanted to put some laundry on top of that chair. So I'm going to talk about more stuff as we go along, but this, the way that people lived in the 1910s were very different than they live now. Oh, I did give them a laundry thing, but here's the thing, that laundry thing may not be functional. I mean, you could do the laundry if you want to. I kind of put it there more for show, because while you can do laundry indoors, you cannot dry laundry indoors. I tried to put a clothesline up, but there was not one, and I couldn't put it outside of the apartments. So it's kind of just look at it there for show. I love those baskets. I'm really looking forward to doing this series, and I want you guys to comment and let me know. So the next one we're going to do is the 1920s. It's going to be the exact same apartment, the exact same layout, but let me know what person you think should be living in this apartment in the 1920s. Like, who do you envision? Is it still a family? Is it a single sim? Is it a couple? Let me know what kind of people you think should be living there, and I'm going to let you know. I'm sorry that this is blank right now, but I was trying to look for a proper bathtub, because guess what? Bathtubs in the 1910s were often not in the bathroom. They were often in the kitchen. Plumbing was a little different back then, and the way the apartments were spliced up, often you would find a bathtub in a kitchen. And so obviously this is the living room, but I'm just looking to see what bathtub looks the most kind of right. And I ended up going with the clawfoot tub. I was really tempted to use that wooden tub, but I felt like in the city, they probably wouldn't have a wooden tub like that. Maybe if this was like a prairie house or something like that, that wooden tub would make more sense. But I decided to go with a nice clawfoot tub, and that clawfoot tub is going to go in the kitchen because I think that that's where it would probably be, because the sink is right close to there. And I think the kitchen would make more sense. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. I'm saying like this is me speculating. I know they put it in the kitchens. I'm assuming they put it in the kitchens because the pipes were there, but also in case they needed to heat up water or something, they could easily do that and pour it right from the stove. So I did put it in front of this window. whoever takes their bath is going to be giving everybody a show, but it's The Sims, so they don't really care. So I just have some different buckets around. I think it's super interesting when people do the decades challenge, and I've seen a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube doing the decades challenge. I'm not doing the decades challenge myself. I don't have that much discipline. I am one of those people, when I play Sims, I want to spoil my Sims. Like, I want to give them the most money, the most luxury, the easiest lives. I just want them to like live happily. I don't know. I don't like, I try sometimes to like do a rags to riches, or I try to like make them have like a crappy house or whatever, but like it doesn't last long. I just can't. I don't know. I don't like to see them suffer. I'm not one of those people. So I will immediately want to give them the most. So I don't know if I have the discipline to do the decades challenge, but I think if you do, this apartment might be an interesting place to start if you're planning on doing the 1910s. This could also be a 1900s apartment. We'll say 1900s to 1910s. I think that this time period, we were seeing a lot of innovation. You don't think of it back then because a lot of things were still very old fashioned, but electricity was just coming around during this time. Oil lamps, electric cars were coming around this time. There was a lot of innovation, record players. It was an interesting time to be alive. Different factories and machinery. This is definitely, this time was the Industrial Revolution, where you see a lot of change coming through and you see a lot of people moving to the city. And it was definitely a dark time in a lot of ways. A lot of children were working in factories and a lot of children were getting hurt. And there's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of sadness in this time, but there's a lot of progress. And I think that life is challenging. The world is challenging because in order for there to be progress, sometimes there is setbacks. I don't want to get political. Don't want to get political about what's going on in the state of the world today. It's a little dismal and sad. But what I am going to say is this family is going to have a happy future. I'm not planning on this family like living in this. I mean, unless you guys really want me to do that, I don't think it's really feasible because this is an apartment and most people don't stay in an apartment their whole entire life, I imagine. So my plan is that every decade we're going to have like a new group of people living in that apartment. I think that's going to be more fun and more interesting because we're going to have like different types of people, different types of hobbies, different types of decor styles. I'm looking for the right couch. And while a lot of these were very period accurate, I didn't feel like they really fit. This is like more of a humble kind of apartment. And I felt like all these couches or sofas were too fancy, a little too fancy, a little too fancy. So I decided to go basic and I used just a wooden bench. Do you guys like playing The Sims better? Do you like decorating? My favorite thing to do in The Sims is to decorate. I do love to play and I do love cast. I love all aspects of the game, but the thing that like draws me in that I really enjoy is decorating, especially decorating around like a theme is my favorite thing to do. So if there are any themes that you guys would like to see, I know I just did a rustic house recently. I'll have that video linked in the cards, but I did a rustic build recently. Somebody had requested a rustic build. So if you guys would like to see or me to build any specific like room, let me know. Let me know. This is the couch that I went with, or the sofa that I went with. It is very basic. I also decided to give a nice little rocking chair. I really like that one that came with Life and Death. I think that it is unique and I feel like there's a lot of like good detail to it. And I wanted to put in a little chair as well. I feel like maybe the parents get the nice chairs and the kids can sit on the couch or the floor. That's another thing is obviously there was no wall-to-wall carpet at this time, but there was a lot of area rugs. So I tried to include those. I really wanted to have a nice like little phonograph player. And I was going to put it on this little side table, but it just did not want to fit. So I ended up giving up on the side table idea and going with just a round table in the middle. I love the little music box thing. I did use lots of different things from different packs. So this was not a restricted build. I'm sorry. If I can, try to be mindful and not use something from a kit or a pack. Like, say if there's like a vase of flowers from base game and a vase of flowers from a kit, I would try to use the vase of flowers from base game. If there's something I can use from base game, I do try to do that. But sometimes for the specific look or the specific vibe of a room, you got to use what you got to use. I love this wallpaper. I think this wallpaper really suits this build. Oh, and I decided to give it a brick wall. I felt like a brick wall was just going to kind of warm it up a little bit. I also wanted to give a privacy screen because this is a very public room. Like, this is a very public room. So there's going to be people in here eating, doing homework, sitting, doing knitting and stuff. So when you're taking your bath, I wanted to give a little bit of privacy. I did not realize that screen, the privacy screen, was in the game. I was shook. It's funny. Sometimes you can build so much, but just not realize how many different things are in the game. It's interesting. So I did put in a knitting basket. The knitting basket does look a little bit modern, but I really wanted there to be some knitting. I felt like, people could do crafting, and I did try to do that. I put an easel, I put a knitting basket, I put an embroidery ring. I wanted there to be entertainment. Oh, I put in a violin. I wanted there to be things for these Sims to do that were off the grid situations. So I tried to do that. And this is the bathroom. The bathroom is very basic. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not know what floors to choose with this bathroom. I don't know. These felt like they would maybe be appropriate, but I just have a toilet and a sink in here. And I have a little furniture piece that would hold I guess towels and things like that. It's pretty basic. It's pretty easy. Nothing too crazy. I really like this thing that came with for rent. That is the perfect thing to put in this bathroom. It just fit so well. It was perfect. So I did put that in. I think I rearranged it a little bit. The bathroom is basic. I think it'll get a little bit more elaborate as time goes by. I wanted this little stool to be in there, because I felt like that stool would be useful. And then the medicine cabinet, it was a little hard to find the right kind of mirror to go above the toilet. I'm going to say something. I feel like we have a lot of mirrors in the game, but I feel like we could definitely use more. I was going to put a mirror over the fireplace, but there was nothing that was the right shape and the right style. We need more mirrors in the game, especially in base game. I feel like the thing, when you do a base game only build, the thing that you're really lacking more than anything is mirrors and carpets. Base game mirrors and carpets are severely lacking. I like these bottles. They look so old-fashioned. They just so fit in with the time perfectly. I'm kind of looking forward to doing the 1920s. That was such an opulent time. And I'm trying to think about who lives there in the 1920s. Is it a single Sim? Is it a couple? Is it a little family? I'm really curious to get into that build and decorate it. I think that the Art Deco time period was just really fun in the 1920s. So we're going to have fun with that and carry it through. I wanted this place to look really lived in, and I wanted it to look really, lived in, comfortable, cozy. I wanted there to be a sense that people lived here and functioned here. And I like the eclectic, mismatched energy of the place. We're going to do a walkthrough in a minute, so just stay tuned for that. But I want you guys to comment and let me know what you think and if you're excited about this series. I love when people create series. I love to like tune into the next part and see like what's coming next. That mirror was perfect for that hallway. I feel like that mirror like is just such a beautiful piece. And then I wanted to put a mirror over the fireplace. It just didn't come together. I forget what I did put. I think it was fruit. Again, I wanted there to be something nice, but nothing that was like super opulent because these people don't have a ton of money. So there we go. We're going to do the walkthrough and I'm going to show you. Oh, yes, that's right. I wanted to put some sconces because this is technically the parlor, like the social room. And I wanted them to have something a little bit special. So this is the only room that has those sconces. And again, another steamer trunk. We're going to go to the thing. Oh, yeah. And I put a runner down the hallway because it just felt right. I don't usually use runners, but it felt right. All right, on to the walkthrough. All right, everybody, let's do the tour. Ignore the modern exterior. Let's step back in time. So this is just a little alcove with a shelf here. This is the bedroom. Let's go in here. I think it looks really cozy. You got this little bedroom, the two kids here. I like it. I think it looks really cute. I mean, I guess I'm biased. Then you have this walking down the hall. You see the mirror here. And then this is the bathroom. Very basic. Very basic. And then this is the, I guess, parlor family room. We'll go over here first. This is the family room. So you have, this is where they would gather. You have a little fireplace, the fancy sconces. Nice little easel. This is the dining room where they can eat. Oh, that's weird. The refrigerator is missing. All right, there we go. I fixed it. So that we have the kitchen area. Very nice, very cozy. Icebox. Sink, stove area. The bathtub is also missing. Okay, I don't know if that's the right bathtub. I don't think it is, but just for all intents and purposes, we have the bathtub, the dining room table, and the living room. So this is our 1910s apartment. Stay tuned for part 2, the 1920s apartment.